Jesse Waters from Fox News is on the hot seat because of something he said in a TP USA speech. And never mind the fact that Jesse Waters spoke at TP USA. We won't hold that against him temporarily. We'll actually go through and figure out what the actual problem was with the speech. So don't worry about that. We'll let the TP USA thing go for a while, but we'll actually listen to the entire clip and see just how far off our friends in the mainstream media were. But in other news, Biden also gives a speech talking about the dark, cold winter where everybody that isn't vaccinated isn't going to die. We'll talk about some of the clips that went along with that and some of the news that came with that. Boston and Chicago both roll out new COVID passports to match Los Angeles and several other areas. So we'll talk a bit about that and whether or not the citizenry of those places think that this will work or is going to be effective. And the Meta has already got its first accusation of groping in the metaverse. It is going to be all this and more. Let's go, Brandon. I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Good morning, Ed Heads. Welcome to Contemporary. My name is Jay Edgar, and we have got quite the slate of news to come over here with today. I don't think we're going to get through it all, especially because we are going to have the extended Jesse Waters speech from TP USA. I chose to do that, and I tried to get in a little bit earlier today than I have been recently because I wanted to make sure that we got through the entire thing. And that's the part of it, too, is because what we'll see first is going to be a very selectively edited clip that came off of this to make sure that Jesse Waters looks in the worst possible light that he possibly can. And I said, that's not what the contemporary audience does. What do I tell you always to do? Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. So I found you all the facts. I found you the full speech. Thank you, TP USA. I can't believe I just said those words. So we will go through that. We'll talk about that. New music today. We're going to take a break from the Christmas music temporarily here because I wanted to play test this and see if I get copyright struck, or get the opportunity to mute anything back up out of this. So definitely go and check that out. This will be, let me get the playlist up in the chat for you guys so you guys can go check it out. It's Star Wars Lo-Fi, which I thought was pretty cool. It's usually another one of those things where you don't get a hard strike on anything music related. In most cases, you just get demonetized for it. But let me put that up in the chat for you guys. I liked it. I listened to it all the way yesterday. So I listened to it all day while I was at work yesterday. And it's a short playlist, but it keeps going over and over. Okay, I guess I can't send it out to the YouTube chat. That's weird. Whatever. I guess my program doesn't want me to send this out to the YouTube chat. I'll try it one more time. No, it won't send the YouTube back out here. Connection error state, it says. Are we on YouTube? Are we shut down? No, we're on. We're going. I guess I can't, well, maybe I can put it in here. Haha, I can put whatever I want in the YouTube chat directly. Ha, I win. I win on tech. All right, great music though. It's a great stream. Go check it out on YouTube. Definitely recommend, especially if you like Star Wars music. All right, let's get into it though. We got to get started. But before we get into the news, let's go check out turnsofpagesproductions.com. Remember, we're getting ready to launch a new website. We're on the funding stage right now, so Give, Send, Go will be coming here this week before Christmas. I understand that it's Christmas time. You got to travel. You got to get your last minute gifts and everything else. But Give, Send, Go. By the way, in the chat, I know that Ron doesn't do Amazon, but and I'll ask later on again. If I put an Amazon wish list together, would anybody be interested in that? I'm not asking because I don't typically like getting gifts, but I know people like to give, stuff for the holidays. It's mostly going to be Kindle books is all it's going to be. If you're interested, I'll put one together later on today and put it out there for you guys. And thank you in advance if you guys do want to do so. It's not gonna be anything major, just pretty much Kindle books and such like that, but because that's all that's on my Amazon shopping list. But if you guys are interested in that, I can do that as well. Thank you in advance once again. But do go check out turnsofpagesproductions.com. Something cool is coming very soon. It's going to be a great time. It'll be a great place where you can go check out great shows such as The Daily Ignoramus, The Breakdown with Birkenhoff, The R-Rated Conservative, The Freckles and Brit Show, and The Porch Boys. Great show that they had last night, except they had a couple of frame drop issues, of course, because, well, the laptop is never as good as the desktop, and we'll probably be seeing that in the next week here on this show as well. But go check all those shows out. They're great friends of the show. They're great friends of Liberty. And they're just great friends to have all around. So go and check that out. It's going to be a great time. And once we get back up and running, we'll have a great place for you to get news by the common man for the common man. Definitely looking forward to that. Other than that, yeah, we'll head out of here and we'll get into the big news of the day. Also, I dropped a new meme format to a couple of our meme smiths here. I still have the image. I have the image saved here. Is it this one? Of Cory Booker. I did save it. I saved it as Cory Booker to be used later. And I sent it out to Katie Zednarple to see if they can make anything back up out of it. That was pause game strong, as Chilaga said yesterday, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Alright, let's look at the Dow. The Dow went up 560 points yesterday, as they said that Omicron fears went away, but it looks like, well, we'll see mixed numbers coming back up out of this probably for the rest of the year, so we will see what happens with that. But 1.6% up to 35,492.70 on the Dow, which I know a lot of your retirements are in right now, so definitely go and check that out. On your Bitcoin is at, let's get a refresh on that just to see where that's at, $48,650 US and 30 US cents. On the downswing, down 304.5 US dollars. So, you know, maybe people cashing out on this to get Christmas gifts. I could definitely see that happening. It is hard because there aren't a lot of places that take your cryptocurrency directly. Usually if you do want to turn it around, you've got to turn it back into US dollars or German marks. Just kidding, they don't use marks over there. Or pound sterling, or a number of other things that go along with that. Usually you've got to turn into another currency, which means you've got to sell it off, which does take some of the value down. So, well, 304 I think is a very modest drop coming into the holiday season, but we'll see what happens with that. On your industrials, at the point where most of your industrial workers are home for the holidays at this point, copper on the average is up, steel is on the average down, and aluminum is on the average down. Looking in your individual plays, all of your copper plays except for shells are all on the upswing. I guess on the holiday season, a lot of people are going to the range. I hope to fire off a few rounds over the weekend here. I definitely do. I really hope to fire off a few rounds over there. Will be after deer season. My brother-in-law's got the range out there. I'm hoping to squeeze a few rounds through. That would be kind of fun, but I'm guessing there's an excess of rounds right now off of that. Looking in your iron plays, conduit steel is up, but pretty much, well, it's kind of mixed actually. Conduit steel is up, light iron is down, number 1 is down, cast iron is up, rotors are up, complete copper is down, shreddable steel is down, stainless steel is up. On your aluminum plays, siding is down, aluminum copper radiator fin, radiators are up, aluminum radiators proper are down, cans are down, sheet aluminum is down, rims are up, electric motors are down, ballasts are down, lead is down, batteries are up. All catalytic converters are on the upswing right now. Compressors are down, alternators are down, carbide is down, hard drives are down, motherboards are down, and power supplies are down. You can get a full PC tower at 14 cents a pound, and low-grade boards are also on the upswing. So that's all that we have on the metal here. Let's check in with our archived finance articles of the morning. From IBD, Dow Jones Futures stock market rallies on Omicron COVID news. Tesla CEO Musk says, "You know what, guys? I have sold enough shares of Tesla. I'm good now." This is from Ed Carson. Dow Jones futures and S&P 500 futures rose slightly Wednesday morning, while Nasdaq futures tilted lower. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says he sold enough shares to satisfy his plan to sell 10% of his holdings. The struggling stock market rally got a lift Tuesday from Micron Technology, some COVID headlines from President Biden, and more travel names such as Hilton Worldwide and Expedia led the way. Micron broke out on strong earnings guidance, giving lift to several memory-related firms, with Seagate Technology and KLA Corp also flashing buy signals. Tesla, Nvidia, and AMD rebounded from key levels, but will this bounce stick? Microsoft stock reclaimed its 50-day line, while Google parent Alphabet nearly did so, as both megacaps work on fresh, shallow bases. The market rally remains under pressure. Cue the baseline. Still, the action of travel stocks suggests that investors, for the moment, are less fearful about the Omicron impact. Hilton, Hyatt, Expedia, and arguably Marriott flashed early buy signals amid strong, high-volume gains. All four stocks broke above 50-day lines. Tesla, Microsoft, Google, AMD, and Nvidia are on the IBD leaderboard. Expedia is on Swing Trader. Microsoft and Google are on the IBD long-term leaders. Micron was IBD's stock of the day. Musk said he sold enough Tesla stock to satisfy his 10% goal. I sold enough stock to get around the 10% plus the option exercise stuff, and I tried to be extremely literal here, Musk said in an hour-long podcast with the right-leaning satirical site, The Babylon Bee. Oh, it was with the B, so hey, maybe he didn't sell enough stock. Maybe he's just going to keep dumping it out. Filings show that Musk sold another $528 million worth of shares on Tuesday. Tesla stock popped 4% in pre-market trade. Shares rose 4.3% to $938.53 on Tuesday. That's where Tesla stock round trip. A 38% rally on Monday's dip below the 950 cup base. Buy point. And there is your cup base buy point right there. On your futures, Dow futures rose 0.15% versus fair value. S&P 500 futures climbed less than 0.1%. Nasdaq actually dropped just slightly. They were just below break-even on the futures. The 10-year Treasury yield fell 2 basis points to 1.47%. Remember, overnight action in Dow futures and elsewhere doesn't necessarily translate into actual trading in the next regular stock market session. That's what we got. That's what we have on the stock markets. Let's grab one from Markets Insider. U.S. stock futures slip after Dow jumps 500 points as Omicron keeps investors guessing. From Harry Robertson. There's the girl standing in front of the bull. U.S. futures slipped slightly Wednesday after the Dow Jones jumped more than 500 points the previous day, with the Omicron coronavirus variant driving volatility in markets. Dow futures were temporarily down 0.9%, S&P 500 futures were 0.18% lower, and Nasdaq futures were off 0.33% as of 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time. As of 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, actually let's go 8 because that's when I archived it, they were considerably up. In fact, both of them coming back up above. Investors have been scrutinizing any new information about Omicron as they try to work out its likely economic impact, leading to big falls and gains in stocks as rumors swirl and small pieces of data emerge. The S&P 500 closed Tuesday about 1.3% off its record closing high of 47,1202, suggesting markets are far from panicked about the threat of the variant. U.S. stocks rallied sharply Tuesday. After falling for 3 straight sessions, some analysts pointed as the driver to announcements from vaccine makers that booster shots increase antibodies and are effective against severe illness as catalyst. As trading thins out in a holiday-shortened week for stock markets, investors may want to stay cautious, according to Jeffrey Halley, senior market analyst at trading platform Oanda. With pre-holiday liquidity tumbling and market direction entirely dominated by headline-derived volatility, it is probably not wise to get too wedded to the worst is over just yet, Halley wrote in a note. Asian stocks edged up overnight, with Tokyo's Nikkei 225 rising 0.16% and Hong Kong's Hang Seng up a little over 0.5%. Europe's continent-wide stock 600 was 0.12% higher in early trading, while London's FTSE slipped 0.14%. Official figures released Wednesday show the UK economy grew more slowly in the summer than previously thought. So, and a lot of this too, especially when we go into the European markets, we're going to start to see what actually happened over the summer in other markets, because, I mean, we get ours pretty quickly. We get it almost quarterly, but the other markets, it takes a little bit longer, especially with international commerce that goes on in the European Union. But we'll see what happens and where that goes and where we land from there. Let's get into the main news of the day and see what we have going on here. But before we get started, before we actually get into the Jesse Watters controversy, I've got a couple other ones to talk about here. First off, Defiant L's claimed another scalp as we started here. Defiant L's tweets out, NBC Chicago. Leibt put on Trump's threat to send in the military. Not gonna happen. 2:50 p.m., 6/2 of 20. During the Summer of Love. The Summer of Love. NBC Chicago. Lightfoot seeks additional help from ATF, U.S. Marshals, to curb violence in Chicago. 12/20/21. 2 days ago. Now we want to send the military in. The defense of the people and the businesses in your city, one of the biggest in the world, hinges on who the president is at the time. Got him. And this one here from The Blaze. This is not necessarily one that I would have normally done, except for the fact that A, your favorite morning podcast and news is not on this list, but B, I just wanted to point out how ridiculous it is that this is basically, as a news article, Blaze TV staff coming out and saying, hey, watch our stuff if you read our website. From Blaze Media, the 10 best conservative podcasts you may have missed. Here they are. Whether you're a conservative podcast newbie or a longtime listener, here are 10 podcasts you won't want to miss. Actually, I kind of do. I'm not going to lie. I've listened to some of these people. But let's see what they recommend. Let's just have some fun. The Steve Deese Show. National politics, Christian worldview, and principled conservatism with a snarky twist. Featured on The Blaze. Fearless with Jason Whitlock. Celebrated journalist Jason Whitlock and Uncle Jimmy protect the realm of common sense and challenge groupthink mandated by elites. Monday through Friday for the most fearless conversation at the crossroads of culture, faith, sports, and comedy. Also featured on The Blaze. The Rubin Report. That ends with the little sound effect of something burning, because it's The Blaze. I like Dave too, by the way. I enjoy Dave's content. It's been a while since I've listened to him, but it's been a while since I've listened to anybody who isn't on the Turns the Pages Productions Network. Because they're the people I care about. These people I don't. Occasionally I'll get a Tim Pool or a Styx. I like Styx. I still like Styx. Styx was the first big name podcast to come on the little fundraiser that could. So I appreciate him. I think he's cool. The Chad Prather Show, which is always advertised over here. You Are Here. Elijah and Sydney. That's Elijah Schaefer, I believe. The Conservative Review with Daniel Horowitz, who is often an author on The Blaze. Relatable with Ali Stuckey. Oh, hey, what's that in the corner there? Hey, that's the Blaze icon. The Mark Levine Show. Louder with Crowder. Are you sensing a pattern here? Oh, hey, who is it that owns The Blaze? The Glenn Beck Program. Self-aggrandizing. And no contemporary on here either, by the way. No contemporary, yeah. And no Daily Ignoramus either. What the fuck? What the hell, you guys? Alright, we have the actual news to get into. So let's start off with this Jesse Watters thing. We teased this at the end of the show because this was trending on Twitter yesterday morning. And of course, horribly selectively edited clip. Let's listen to the horribly selectively edited clip to start off with. I've actually got 3 videos right in a row. So the selectively edited clip, Fauci's reaction, and then I have the full clip, which, full disclosure, we will have 5 minutes of listening to Jesse Waters, which will probably drop all of your IQ points about 5 points. But for the sake of finding all the facts and draw your own conclusions, I have to power through it. And I have listened to the whole thing already, so mine's going to go down another 5 points. Pretty soon, once I'm done with that, I'll actually probably be able to use the Alex Jones line, won't I? All right. But let's have a listen here first. Ron Filipkowski, or whatever. However the fuck you pronounce his last name. Progressive, socialist, neoliberal supporter. That's how you pronounce his name. The incendiary, dangerous, violent rhetoric against Dr. Fauci continues at America Fest. Fox News host Jesse Waters tells them how to go after him and harass him in public. Now you go in with a kill shot, deadly, because with an ambush, he doesn't see it coming.
Now you go in for the kill shot. The kill shot.
The kill shot!
With an ambush, deadly, because he doesn't see it coming. This is when you say, Dr. Fauci, you funded risky research at a sloppy Chinese lab, the same lab that sprung this pandemic on the world. You know why people don't trust you, don't you? Boom! He is dead!
Boom!
He's dead! He's done. Now, how you do that? 30 seconds. That's all you need. 30 seconds. Now, you get that footage to us. You get it to Fox. You get it to Human Events. You get it to Breitbart. You get it to Daily Caller. You get it through the Turning Point pipeline. Imagine Tucker Carlson teases out of the A block. Coming up. Brave college student confronts Lord Fauci at dinner. Exclusive footage, right back. Get us that. That's what we want. That changes the whole conversation of the country. I've authorized it. Just make sure it's legal. Or someone...
And, I mean, even in that selectively edited clip, you can already tell that he's not talking about, the same thing that all of Twitter was freaking the fuck out about yesterday. Holy shit. Were they having a conniption fit? When we were on Contemporary yesterday morning, they were having a conniption fit. I mean, I replied, or quote tweeted Brooklyn Dad Ballless right on air. And I said, hey, how much did this tweet cost the DNC? And we listened to it yesterday again, but we'll do it for posterity once again here, listening to St. Anthony of Fauci himself coming back out and reacting to this. Let's listen.
On the subject of divisiveness, Dr. Fauci, I'm not going to play it because, frankly, I think it's dangerous. But Jesse Waters, who is a Fox News entertainer, was giving a speech to a conservative group where he talked about you and suggested to the crowd that they ambush you with what he said was some kind of rhetorical kill shot. That was his exact word. I'm wondering, how much that concerns you when you hear language like that about you and your well-being.
Well, John, that's horrible. I mean, that just is such a reflection of the craziness that goes on in society. The only thing that I have ever done throughout these 2 years is to encourage people to practice good public health practices, to get vaccinated, to be careful in public settings, to wear a mask. And for that, you have some guy out there saying that people should be giving me a kill shot to ambush me. I mean, what kind of craziness is there in society these days? That's awful that he said that. And he's going to go very likely unaccountable. I mean, whatever network he's on is not going to do anything for him. I mean, that's crazy. The guy should be fired on the spot.
Murray, all I hear is the cries of puppies. All we done is lie to people, and that's why it's the kill shot, and he's advocating for people to come out and kill me. Why would they want to kill me? I'm the patron saint of medicine. All right. Full apologies next time through, or for this next video through. This is about a 5-minute video. We're going to watch pretty much until he gets into the point of what we saw off of this. Because I want you to hear what came before they hit. Shit, jump cut. Oh, look, he said kill shot. I want you to hear how this led into it. Uncut, raw, ready to go. Thank you, TPUSA, for putting this whole speech up. I apologize for your lowering IQs. But keep in mind, this is the second time I've listened to this. So mine is going down further than yours. Turning Point USA tweets out, we heard everyone is talking about Jesse Waters' speech at AM Fest 2021. Here's the full clip of Jesse B. Waters calling for respectful and legal citizen journalism.
All right? We want the left to feel awkward. Right? You guys like James O'Keefe? Right. Now, James O'Keefe goes to people's homes and sticks mics in their face and makes them ashamed of themselves because they screwed up. So James O'Keefe makes people awkward, and that's what we want. I'm sick and tired of conservatives always playing defense, right? It's time for us to go on offense. We have to make them play defense. We're always putting out fires. Stop, stop, stop. No, we need to go on offense. And this is how we're going to do that. I'm going to deputize all you guys to be little James O'Keefes, okay? And this is how we're going to get this done. Because you guys are in these college campuses. You guys are spread out all over the country. You guys have politicians flying in, officials flying in. You guys have to take advantage of that. Make a name for yourselves. All right, let's just say Fauci comes to town. All right? Let's pretend this podium's Fauci. It's about the same size. You got to ambush a guy like Fauci, okay? This is how you do these ambushes, like O'Keefe. You got to be respectful, because they'll turn the tables on you and you can't have it blow up in your face. So if you see Fauci out and about and you know he's coming to town, this is how you approach, okay? First, you identify yourself. You say, what's your name? What's your name? Edward what? Thompson. What school? What? I don't even know what you just said. My name's Thompson. I'm from da-da-da-da-da. Address it. Do you mind, Dr. Fauci, if I ask you a few questions? He's going to say no, but you were polite. So if he says, no, 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 not right now, you say, no, 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 we're going to address this right now. That's how you turn the tables, and you start it with an aggressive posture. Then you hit him with the first question. The first question can't be a yes or no question, because his answer can just be yes or no. You have to elicit. It has to be a how or a why. So what you do with Anthony Fauci is you say, Dr. Fauci, why did you lie? Okay? Why did you lie? I love that question. Hit him with...
Does Jesse Waters not know what Anthony's actual title is? It is Saint Anthony of Fauci, the patron saint of medicine. Dr. Fauci. No, he's evolved long, far, far past doctor.
Why did you lie when you said that you didn't fund gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab? Now, Fauci, he did. He funded it. So he's either going to deny it. He can't deny it because he's going to lie again. Or he's just going to speak gibberish. You let him talk. Get it on tape with your iPhone or your buddy's iPhone. I don't have time to get into the technicality of it. But you let him talk, and here's your follow-up. Now, there's a little trick of the trade. Keep a little document in your pocket, all right? This is the grant that funded the research. It's in your pocket. Now, you can print it out. It's on the internet. You know what it is. Or if it's a blank sheet of paper, you hold the sheet of paper up for effect. You say, I have the grant right here, Dr. Fauci, and you wave it in his face.
So, unless you actually, print it out, he's told you to lie, essentially, right off the bat of this, too. Like I said, you're not going to get smarter listening to this guy. You're not going to get smarter listening to anybody from the mainstream media. But still, for what he's being dragged over the coals for, This is what he should be being dragged over the coals for, not kill shot.
You wave that in his face for the camera, for flair. And then you read it to him, right? You say, you summarize. You say, it says right here, 2014, 800 grand. This is your agency. Why do you continue to lie, doctor? And you wave it. Now, that time, I mean, this guy's scrambling at this point. You have the goods. You have the goods. Because he's been able to dodge and weave on the ABC and NBC. No one's ever hit him in the face like this. Not even Rand Paul has been able to get in his face and point with the grant in his face. So then he's in trouble. Now you go in for the kill shot. The kill shot.
So, and that's where we joined in with the previous clip. And I will spare you from listening to the rest of Jesse Waters. Because as Chilaga pointed out, this is cringe. With a capital fucking C. At what point in that speech was this, you know, he should be fired for this? No, if you want answers from a public official, you should be able to approach a public official. Number one, first and foremost. Would I have worded that differently? Probably. Oh, probably I would have worded that a lot differently, but yeah. This guy is. There were probably two other points in that speech where I would have said that this guy should be removed from Fox News, but the one that everybody's focused on are not either one of those. The Cuomo hole in a sweatpants pocket vibe. That is, well, yeah, how about that? All right, but that's what we see coming from Jesse Waters. Reading briefly from NBC on the same topic. Fauci says Jesse Waters should be fired on the spot for his kill shot comments. From David K. Lee. Can I drop this down a little bit more without muting it entirely? Yeah, that's better. St. Anthony of Fauci, the patron saint of medicine, called the crazy threats made against him by Fox News Channel's Jesse Waters, saying Tuesday that Waters, he should be fired on the spot. Fauci, the patron saint of medicine, responded in an appearance to CNN's New Day to comments that Waters made over the weekend to the conservative pro-Trump youth group TPUSA. Waters, a conservative provocateur, told the group to ambush Fauci in the streets and record a rhetorical kill shot. That's horrible. I mean, it's such a reflection on the craziness that goes on in society, said Fauci. Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the only thing that I have ever done throughout these past 2 years is encourage people to practice good public health practices, to get vaccinated, to be careful in public settings, to wear a mask. And for all that, you have some guy out there saying that people should give me a kill shot to ambush me? When you attack Dr. Fauci, you attack the science. I am the science. And by the science, I mean your religion, the religion you should be practicing. All right? You can't attack Fauci. You just accept what it is that I have to say. Because I am the patron saint of medicine. In his remarks to the far-right youth group, okay, Waters appeared to link Fauci to wild conspiracy theories that connect him to allegations of biowarfare. Now you're going to go in for the kill shot with an ambush. Oh, they are stroking themselves off so disgustingly hard over that detail, aren't they? The kill shot with an ambush is deadly because he won't see it coming, Waters told the crowd. Stop stroking your media fucking cock. Jesus. This is what you say, Dr. Fauci. You funded risky research at the sloppy Chinese lab, the same lab that sprung this pandemic on the world. You know why people don't trust you, don't you? Boom. He is dead. He is dead. He is done. Okay, reading this back the second time is almost worse than listening to him say it the first time. And the second time, for that matter. But there again, as I said, in that speech, they love to focus on the fact they said, the kill shot. Oh my God, it's the kill shot. Not focusing on the fact that, Jesse Waters did just encourage people to be more active in public discourse. Something we should all be encouraged to do, in fact. I'm a big fan of getting more people active in public discourse. That's one of the reasons I do this show. So that more people can come out and say, hey, maybe the mainstream media is lying to me just a little bit here. Maybe I don't have to get all my news from Breitbart either. Maybe we can go collect all the articles, both from the mainstream and the alt media and the alt-right this and that and the next thing, and see where they all combine and see what might actually be truthful and what might not be. That's why I used that Revolver article, and that's why I had the disclaimer on the Revolver article too, by the way. Because Revolver is not green check verified. But it's a good jumping off point to ask the question of, hey, who the fuck is Ray Epps? And why do so many people keep talking about him, and why doesn't the mainstream media talk about him? We have him on video saying, let's go into the Capitol. Why is he not sitting in a cell? Why is he on his ranch in Arizona instead? But that's what we see from Jesse Waters. All right, let's see if we can't raise your intellect back up after listening to that speech. And see what goes off with that. All right. From 6 Action News. Let me see. Is this the one I want to start with? Yeah, this is the one I want to start with. So Biden gave a speech yesterday. A lot of stuff in that speech, and we're going to be watching some clips from it as well towards the end of this. But let's just talk about some of the things that were in that speech here. This comes from 6 Action News, ABC, out of Philadelphia. Biden announces plan to mail 500 million free rapid tests to Americans next month. See, 500 million free rapid tests. In a nation of 353 million people. How far is that actually going to go? Just out of curiosity. This comes from the Associated Press, from Josh Boak, Ricardo Alonso Zaldivar, and Colleen Long. From Washington, fighting Omicron variant surging through the country, President Biden announced the government will provide 500 million free rapid home testing kits, increase support for hospitals under strain, and redouble vaccination and boosting efforts. At the White House on Tuesday, Biden detailed major changes to the pinko fucking pox winter plan, his hand forced by the fast-spreading variant whose properties are not yet fully understood by scientists. Yet his message was clear that the winter holidays could be close to normal for the vaccinated, while potentially dangerous for the unvaccinated. Ugh. His pleas are not political. No, he's just going out here and speaking to the people who did what he said, like good little boys, and telling the people who didn't do what he said, like bad little boys, hey, man, you're gonna die, and I hope you do. That's not political at all. He noted that former President Trump has gotten his booster and said, it's an American's patriotic duty to get vaccinated. Yeah, see, one of the things, and this was one of the things that really irked me about this speech, and the fact that he said patriotic duty. That worked for the Donald. That actually worked quite well for the Donald. When he came out, and, you got a guy here, as cringe as it was, when he walks up and he hugs the American flag, and he says, I love this country, okay? It's the greatest country in the world. I'm going to do everything I can for this country, and the American people, the great American people, and I want to defend them from China, and the things that come from China, okay? Greatest country in the world, love this country very much, okay? But when a large portion of your base has come in and said, America needs to be dismantled, America was never great, America is the worst place in the world, depending on who is in the office, you kind of lose points on the patriotic duty side of this. And you're trying to appeal to people who are not going to vote for you for a second term and didn't vote for you for the first term. It's the only responsible thing to do, the president said. Omicron is serious and a potentially deadly business for unvaccinated people. Come on, man. Biden chastised social media and people on cable TV who have made misleading statements to discourage people from getting vaccinated. The outbreak from the latest strain of the coronavirus has required the federal government to get more aggressive in addressing the wave of infections, but Biden has promised a wary nation that there would not be a mass lockdown of schools or businesses. I know you're tired. I know you're frustrated. We all want this to be over. But we're still in it, man, Biden said. We also have more tools than we had before. We're ready. We'll get through this. Scientists don't know everything about Omicron yet, but they do know the vaccination should offer strong protection against severe illness and death. The variant has spread at such an alarming rate since it was identified in South Africa about a month ago that the Biden admin snapped into action to offer new tests and additional aid. Still more is needed, some medical experts said. A cornerstone of the plan is for the government to purchase 500 million coronavirus rapid tests for free shipment to Americans on your taxpayer dime. Don't say that part out loud. For free shipment to Americans starting in January, people will use a new website to order the tests. People will. I won't. Which will be then sent by U.S. mail at no charge. The 500 million could be increased depending on developments. Yeah, and there again, in a nation of 350 million people. How far does 500 million tests go? How far does that actually go? And who made the test? And what do their donor sheets look like? It marks a major shift for Biden, who earlier called for many Americans to purchase the hard-to-find tests on their own, and then seek reimbursement from health insurance for the first time. The U.S. government will send free COVID tests directly to Americans after more than a year of urging public health experts. Free. Experts have criticized Biden's initial buy first, get paid later approach as unwieldy, and warned that the U.S. would face another round of testing problems at a critical time. Testing advocates point to nations including the UK and Germany, which have distributed billions of tests to the public and recommended people test themselves twice a week. The federal government will also establish new testing sites and use the Defense Production Act to help manufacture more tests. The first new federally supported testing site will open in New York this week. The new sites will add 20,000 already available. The White House officials said they're working with Google so that people will be able to find them by searching free COVID test near me. As if people actually still use Google. It's actually not true. I use Google a lot. Because for the most part, it is me commenting on how the news is reflected through the mainstream. So I use Google a lot, but I mean, Google whitewashes all kinds of shit. Still, Biden's testing surge would need to be supported by a further jump in production for all Americans to test at the recommended rate of twice weekly. The U.S. would need 2.3 billion tests per month for everyone 12 and older to do that, according to the nonprofit Kaiser Family Foundation. That's nearly 5 times the 500 million tests Biden will deploy. Currently, the U.S. can conduct about 600 million tests per month, with home tests accounting for about half, according to the researchers from Arizona State University. In another prong to Biden's amped-up plan, he's prepared to deploy an additional 1,000 troops with medical skills to assist hospitals, buckling under the virus surge. So, government takeover, private industry. Also, he's immediately sending federal medical personnel to Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin. It's another reason for me not to go to the hospital. Arizona, New Hampshire, and Vermont. And there are plans to ready additional ventilators and protective equipment from the national stockpile, expanding hospital resources. Once again, federal takeover of private industry, federal takeover of healthcare. Do you see it yet? Do you see what's actually happening here? As a backstop, the Federal Emergency Management Agency will deploy hundreds of ambulances and paramedic teams so that if one hospital fills up, it can transport patients to open beds in another. Ambulances are already headed to New York and Maine, and paramedic teams are going to New Hampshire and Vermont and Arizona. But vaccination remains the main defense. Since it can head off disease in the first place, they still don't know that. The government will support multiple vaccination sites and provide hundreds of personnel to administer shots. New rules will make it easier for pharmacists to work across state lines to administer a broader range of shots. So, a lot of stuff moving here, a lot of stuff coming off of this, and this is a lot of promises from the Biden admin to spend your money to do something that he can't control and can't stop at this point. But they're still going to come back and try. Reading from CNN. We touched on this a little bit in the last article. Biden offers rare praise of Trump during COVID speech. From Megan Vasquez and Nikki Carvajal. President Biden on Tuesday gave credit to the Trump admin for the development of the pinko fucking pox jab and praised his predecessor for getting a booster shot. Which, of course, this is the first time that he's come out and said, hey man, it was the previous administration that did that. I thought that he would lie about that for the rest of his admin. Marking a rare moment where the two men have found common ground since Inauguration Day. I got my booster shot as soon as they were available, Biden said during a speech from the White House about his administration's efforts to address the Omicron variant of COVID-19, adding, And just the other day, former President Trump announced that he'd gotten his booster shot. Okay. He's 76 fucking years old. And he is a little bit porky, too. I actually, because I ran across my ex on Bumble a little while ago, addressed the fact that she, the ever-contrarian, had gone out and gotten vaccinated and bragged about it over on the little dating profile. But massively overweight for most of her life. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that absolutely happening. 100%. Same with Trump. He's in a risk category. He's 76 years old. Of course he's going to go get the booster. Of course he is. It makes sense for him. It doesn't really make sense for me. And let's not mince words and say that he's come out here and tried to be some kind of, I'm going to be the anti-vax candidate because all these vaccines that we're getting out here, they give you kids autism, they put the 5G tracker in you, they do all this kind of stuff. He's not doing that, though. He's not doing any of that. He's coming out here and saying, okay, I think that you should go get your vaccine. I think you should do that. The government shouldn't be able to tell you that you can and can't. They should be able to do that. They should not be able to do that. That's the worst. That's the worst thing in the world, okay? But you should still go and get it. Listen to me, your favorite president, Donald Trump, okay? That may be one of the few things he and I agree on, man. Come on, Biden continued. People with booster shots are highly protected. Join them. Join us. Unvaccinated people face 10 times greater risk of having positive amendment. 20 times greater risk of dying from COVID. What was it that Arvolt said about the CNN journalists and the fapping noise in the background? That's what this paragraph is right here. The fapping noise right there. Yeah, it makes sense for him to go out and get his shot. It does. And the other side of that is like I say, I've never been against somebody going out and getting the shot either. I've never been. If you want to get it, if you think that's the best way to protect your livelihood, your health, your family, or any combination of the three I just listed, if you've sat down, run the numbers, run the statistics, and said, you know what, I want to do this, by all means, go and do it. Your body is your choice. I am not going to. It doesn't make sense for me. Therefore, I am not going to. But I will drive anybody to their appointment that wants to go and get it, as long as they don't pressure me to do the same thing. As you come back and assess the situation and say, okay, this is the best thing for me. But that's what we see off that. Let's grab one from NBC. Biden pushes COVID vaccination and testing, but says we're ready for the holiday surge. From Tegan Finn. President Biden announced several new steps the admin is taking to combat the spread of the pinko fucking pox on Tuesday, seeking to reassure Americans that the expected holiday surge won't be a return to the devastating early days of the pandemic. The federal government plans to set up new testing sites nationwide, in addition to the 20,000 that are already in operation, Biden said Tuesday afternoon. The first one will open in New York City before Christmas. We're prepared for what's coming, he said. In March of 2020, we were not ready. Nobody was ready, dude. Biden also announced that the White House is preparing to ship as many as 500 million at-home test kits. That'll set up a website for the people to submit their requests, with delivery beginning in January. Biden sent a warning to the unvaccinated, emphasizing that unvaccinated people are most likely going to face ongoing risk of severe illness and that they are responsible for their own choices. I honest to God believe it's your patriotic duty to get vaccinated, he said. Pinko pox hospitalizations are once again ticking upward after a lull in October and early November, with tens of thousands more people filling hospital beds across the country in the last 4 weeks. The surge is connected to the spread of the highly contagious Omicron variant of the coronavirus, which has overtaken the Delta as the dominant strain in the U.S. as of Friday. More than 73% of new cases in the country have been caused by the Omicron variant, according to the data from the CDC posted on Monday. This was my favorite part. Oh, well, we should all be concerned about Omicron, but not panic, Biden said. If you're fully vaccinated, especially if you got your booster shot, you're highly protected. And no, this is not March of 2020, he added. 200 million people are fully vaccinated. Which they're not. That's not true. That's a damn lie. I would say 200 million of them have their one of their shots. But you've also moved the goalposts in the definition of fully vaccinated. I would say probably 50 million people are fully vaccinated at this point, by their definition. 2 shots and your first booster. This is not March of 2020. No shit, there was no vaccine there at the time. It was the same thing, like when he said, hey, when I got inaugurated, less than 10% of the people were vaccinated. Now it's 60%. No shit! When you got inaugurated, the vaccine had just come out 6 weeks prior. And we were still on shortages, you dumb fuck. I feel like I have Tucker face here. And of course, the Daily Wire couldn't comment on this without getting in on the obvious, glaring problem that went on with somebody making a speech about the pinko fucking pox. Biden coughs through his COVID-19 press conference, from Virginia Kruta. President Biden paused his Tuesday press conference where he addressed the nation on the rise of the Omicron variant and his admin's plan to combat the pandemic several times to clear his throat or cough. Biden began his remarks by touting how far the U.S. has come in the fight against the pinko fucking pox, noting that 200 million had received one of the vaccines and told you. And a number had also received the booster shots in the months since. He then pivoted to explain how the admin planned to move forward. there are parts of this country where people are very eager to get their booster, where it's hard to get an appointment. He continued, pausing briefly to cough in his hand. Okay, it's no part of the country I've ever been in. If I really wanted this stupid fucking shot, I could walk into the local Woodman's. Not this Saturday because it's Christmas. But and not the next Saturday after that because it's New Year's. But on any other given Saturday in existence, I can walk into the local Woodman's and get a needle jabbed in my fucking arm.
Do or do not. There is
Ain't gonna do it. He continued, pausing briefly to cough in his hand. Excuse me, starting this week I'll be deploying hundreds of more vaccinators to more sites to get booster shots in people's arms. I've ordered FEMA. Is there video of this? Yes, there is. No, well, that's a GIF. No, they didn't give us a video of that. I've seen it happen, though, so. I've ordered FEMA to stand up new pop-up vaccination clinics all across the country where you can get that booster. We've opened. Biden coughed into his hand again before continuing. Excuse me, we've opened FEMA vaccination sites in Washington State and New Mexico recently as cases have increased. Biden's cough did not go unnoticed. A number of people raised questions about it on Twitter. Biden struggling with a cough during his speech, Guy Benson noted. Biden coughs into his hands as he scolds the unvaccinated for spreading the COVID. Ha 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 ha, can't make this up, Liz Wheeler said. Does Biden have the COVID cough? Todd Starnes asked. Others simply suggested the cough made them a little bit uncomfortable. The White House announced earlier this week that President Biden had close contact with someone who tested positive for the commie fucking coof, but said that he has been tested since and is feeling fine. So, did not go unnoticed. Let's listen to some of the stupid shit from this. I got 3 clips of the speech. And a butt ton of notifications on Twitter. Bro, I'm famous. First from the USA Today, we should all be concerned about Omicron, but not panicked. If you're fully vaccinated, especially got your booster shots, you're highly protected.
We should all be concerned about Omicron, but not panicked. If you're fully vaccinated, and especially if you got your booster shot, you are highly protected. And if you're unvaccinated, you're at a higher risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19, getting hospitalized, and even dying. So the best thing to do is get fully vaccinated and get your booster shot. And no, this is not March of 2020. 200 million people are fully vaccinated. We're prepared. We know more. We just have to stay focused. We should all be concerned about Omicron.
This is not March of 2020. It might be March of 1968. I don't know. But I mean, this is not March of 2020. All right, what else do we have? If you're not fully vaccinated, you have good reason to be concerned about Omicron, the president says.
How concerned should you be about Omicron, which is now the dominant variant in this country, and it happened so quickly? The answer is straightforward. If you're not fully vaccinated, you have good reason to be concerned. You're at a high risk of getting sick. And if you get sick, you're likely to spread it to others, including friends and family. The unvaccinated have a significantly higher risk of ending up in a hospital or even dying. Almost everyone who has died from COVID-19 in the past many months has been unvaccinated. Unvaccinated. But if you're among the majority of...
That is a bald-faced lie. That is a complete lie. I want to listen to that again.
In a hospital or even dying.
Oh, wait, no. It's in his head.
Almost everyone who has died from COVID-19 in the past many months has been unvaccinated.
No, with the statistics that we have in this country, there is no way that is possible. That is completely impossible, statistically.
Unvaccinated. But if you're among the majority of Americans who are fully vaccinated, and especially if you've gotten the booster shot, that third shot, you have much less reason to worry. You have a high degree of protection against severe illness. But because Omicron spreads so easily, we'll see some fully vaccinated people get COVID, potentially in large numbers. There will be positive cases in every office, even here in the White House, among the vaccinated from Omicron. But these cases are highly unlikely to lead to serious illness. Vaccinated people who get COVID may get ill, but they're protected from severe illness and death. That's why you should still remain vigilant.
You should remain vigilant, man. And everybody, the only people that died were the unvaccinated. That is a bald-faced lie. And you know it, by the way. But it sounded good to your voting base, who can now take this clip and run back to Twitter and say, see, the president said that only the unvaccinated die. A couple clips that went along with this. Like Curtis Hook, I think he did the entire speech in clips. But this was the one that I wanted to focus on. Because, yeah, this is in the press conference afterwards. And when I listened to this yesterday, I'm like, holy shit, he actually did it. He actually had a dementia moment on stage. Curtis Hook tweets out, Biden is going along, and then all of a sudden he starts swinging and yelling at the clouds. Then ends his answer by saying, I'm not supposed to be having this press conference right now. That's on top of coughing earlier. The President of the United States is not well.
We're talking about health care, insulin. In a situation, we got 200,000 kids with type 1 diabetes. You know what it's costing? It cost somewhere between 10 cents and $10 to come up with the formula, okay, a while ago, right? You know what it's costing on average? $640 a month, up to $1,000 a month. What do you do if you're a mom and a dad working with minimum wage, busting your neck? You look at your kid, and you know if you don't get that vaccine for him, if you don't get that drug for him, if you don't get be able to take that, what happens? They're likely to go in a coma, maybe die. Not only do you put the kid's life at stake, you strip away all the dignity of a parent looking at their child. I'm not joking about this. Imagine being a parent, looking at a child, and you can't afford. You have no house to borrow against. You have no savings. It's wrong. But all the things in that bill are going to reduce prices and cost for middle class and working class people. It's going to reduce their cost. What's inflation? Having to pay more than the money you have because things have gone up. Well, bring down all those costs across the board, from child care to a child care tax credit. But I'm not supposed to be having this press conference right now.
Before we address the elephant in the room of, I'm not supposed to be having this press conference right now, there are a couple things that I want to address on that first. First and foremost, the rapid changing in volume, going up and then down, getting angry for no reason in the middle of a speech like that. That guy has Alzheimer's. You know it. I know it. Even his supporters know it at this point. You cannot hide the fact that this guy has Alzheimer's. Everybody knows it at this point. And we can look at the inflationary numbers. I know that's what Randy was focusing on there just a second ago. The inflation numbers off of that, and well, inflation, that's when you don't have a house to borrow against it, and things cost more than they did. They cost more than the money in your pocket. That's not what inflation is. Inflation is when you print off a whole bunch of dollars or add a whole bunch of ones and zeros into the computer because there aren't any physical dollars to go with it anymore. But you print off a bunch of those little dollar bills that are supposed to represent a share of the GDP, but the GDP hasn't gone up. The supply of dollars has gone up, but the share of the GDP goes up, so your share of the dollar or the GDP becomes less as more of those little pieces of paper keep flipping out into the fucking world. That's what inflation is. And third, and this is the big one, because he got pissed off at a reporter. That's the reason that he had this portion of this. Because he was up there supposed to be following script about the commie fucking coof. He was supposed to be following script about the commie coof, and he didn't. And he went off into the weeds and talking about the Build Back Bullshit bill. And in talking about the Build Back Bullshit bill, he pointed out the fact that, well, buried in this bill is, that's got the provision. It costs 10 cents to $10 for the formula to make the insulin. And sometimes it's costing $560 a year, which it was capped at 35 2 years, last year? 2 years ago. It was capped at 35 2 years ago. So don't start giving me that bullshit. That's because of Big Pharma. You repealed the provision, the law, that capped it at 35. Because you didn't want the orange guy to get fucking credit for it. Bigger note to that, if this was such an important issue, and I know why he repealed it too, because he wanted it buried into the Build Back Bullshit bill for reasons like this. If this was such an important issue, you would do it the same, well, the Donald did it by executive order, and I didn't agree with that either. But you would do it by legislation. There would be a standalone bill if this was so important. I would petition to Brian Style, and I actually still might, even though I know he's not going to do anything of it because Brian Style is a do-nothing fucking candidate. But petition it to your representative. Say, hey, we want a standalone bill that caps the price of insulin at $35, no matter what. If it's that important, it should pass with flying colors. And then, yes, on top of this, at the very end, after he got so pissed off about all the rest of this, well, I'm not supposed to be even having this press conference right now, but Jill says that I can't just walk away from everything every time. People are starting to notice that I never take questions. I also just, because Ben Wild talked about the Hunter crack pipe, I want to also notate the fact that the guy whose laptop got recovered from a Delaware repair shop with pictures of him with an underage hooker and a crack pipe in his mouth wants to talk about the dignity of being a parent. A guy, when he's in his lucid moments, is probably thinking, God damn it, I wish it would have been Hunter, not Bo. All right. A little bit of misinformation that's going out here by Chuck Calesto, who wanted to come back and get you to go buy pillows, which is probably part of the reason he had so many people click on this. Breaking report. Washington University School of Medicine releases data claiming if you've had COVID, you're likely protected for life. Two problems with that. Number one, that's actually not true, and I've read the Washington University School study, and it doesn't say a word of that. It says you have long-term antibodies, sometimes going through life, that could help you fight it off, but you have no immunity. But also, it was 6 months ago. It was 6 fucking months ago. This isn't breaking news, dude. But hey, you clicked on it, and now you can see, canceled by retailers, but not by the people. Invitation to buy direct. Support those that support you this Christmas. Use code THANKS45 at MyPillow.com. I've heard MyPillow is pretty decent. honestly. It's too bad Lindell is such a fucking goofball. I've heard that that's actually a pretty decent pillow from what I have. I don't have a MyPillow.
Of friendship.
I've heard the people that have it like it.
All of this.
I've heard the people that hate Mike Lindell say it's just a bunch of foam rubber inside of a pillow.
I wish you.
But the people that have it seem to like it. More coronavirus news. We've got so much coronavirus shit. What is it? What's it Steven calls it? Woo Flu Wednesday? Omicron will not recognize state lines when it storms the U.S., expert says. No shit, Sherlock. Hey, you know what else didn't recognize state lines when it surged the U.S.? Delta variant. Beta variant. The Prime variant. Alpha variant. The chickenpox. The common cold. Influenza type whatever the fuck it is this year. Hey, it's almost like an airborne disease doesn't recognize any state lines. What a concept! It also doesn't recognize the border, especially when you keep importing people back across the fucking thing. From Susanna Coulinane? Yeah, Coulinane. The impact of Omicron is on a largely unboosted U.S. population going into the holiday season will create the perfect storm that will challenge healthcare systems from coast to coast, an expert said on Monday. Omicron is now the country's most dominant strain, less than 3 weeks after the first case was reported in the U.S. It accounted for more than 73% of new coronavirus cases in the week ending Saturday, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimated on Monday. Even though more people who get it have milder illnesses, so many more people overall will get it that I think that we're going to see a real challenge in our healthcare systems over the course of the next 3 to 8 weeks, said Michael Osterholm, director of the Centers for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota. Yeah. We all knew that. We all knew that it was going to cross state lines. It's going to cruise! The state line cruiser. No, I did not mean state line crosser, you dumb fuck. This is what coronavirus is going to be. Are you ready? Let's actually get this up here and see. The state lines cruiser doesn't even stay in his home every day. No fear or guilt, violating the Geneva Convention's ban on cruising state lines. Knows he's committing a war crime, doesn't care. His family haven't spoke to him since they found out that he cruises. He thinks work is a valid reason to cruise state lines. Oh God, not again! Oh yes, fuck, I'm cruising! He's literally been to more than one state. Bro, the state line is just an invisible line. We need to lower the state line. That's your Omicron variant right there. It's gonna cruise. It's cruising. It's gonna cruise! Alright. We talked yesterday about Dr. Leanna Wen saying don't wear the cloth mask. We quoted her from the article. Let's actually listen to what she had to say about this.
We should be keeping the events that are safe and also the events that have fun for people too. We can't be canceling everything, especially if we're going to be living with COVID for the foreseeable future. I would say that if you choose to go, make sure that you're vaccinated and boosted. Make sure that you're wearing a mask, even though it's outdoors. If there are lots of people packed around you, wearing a 3-ply surgical mask. Don't wear a cloth mask. Cloth masks are little more than facial decorations. There's no place for them in light of Omicron. And so wear a high quality wearing a mask, at least a 3-ply surgical mask. And if you're going to be visiting elderly relatives or immunocompromised people after, wait 3 days, get tested, and then see those vulnerable people. We should be keeping the...
So, Dr. Wen, are you going to pay for those masks? Yes, this is the former head of Planned Parenthood. You are correct, Marie. All right. Let's talk about some restrictions, starting with the city of Boston. Guess I won't be going back there. Starting on January 15th, 2022, individuals will be required to show proof of the vaccination to enter certain indoor spaces, like restaurants, fitness facilities, entertainment spaces, which means, likely, no more Fenway for me. Lame. And certain meeting spaces in Boston. Learn more, boston.gov/betogether. Here's the image out there. Vaccination required. Starting January 15th, 2022, individuals will be required to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination to enter certain indoor spaces like restaurants, fitness facilities, entertainment spaces, and certain meeting spaces in Boston. And then they went back and did it in Spanish too. And I believe... I don't know what language that is. I can't even tell. But they did it in numerous languages. I'm surprised that Spanish was so close to the top. There are like no Mexican people in Boston. Although I suppose there's every other Latin American nation of origin in the area. But in the time that I lived there, in the 2 years I lived there, I only met one actual Mexican person. There were a lot of Hispanic people, but it was usually Guatemalan, Brazilian, that's not technically Hispanic, but Cuban, Puerto Rican, that kind of thing. There's some pretty base dudes in that group of people too, by the way. Boston Hispanic people are fucking tight. I loved hanging out with them. They were awesome. All right, reading from NBC 10. Boston implementing proof of vaccination requirement for restaurants, other indoor venues. From Katie Brace, Mark Fortier, and John Maroney. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu announced new proof of vaccination requirements for restaurants and other indoor venues, including gyms and theaters, on Monday. She also said all city employees must be vaccinated along that same timeline, eliminating a weekly testing option that had existed previously. This is just one step in an aggressive approach the city's already been working on hard to implement, Wu said. It's absolutely a necessary one. We're ready to take this step forward to protect our residents. The proof of vaccination requirement for indoor venues will go into effect starting January 15th for everyone ages 12 and up. All patrons and employees will be required to show proof that they have received at least one dose of the vaccine. Beginning February 15th, everyone will have to show proof of 2 doses. Starting on March 1st, children over age 5 will be required to be vaccinated as well. The proof of vaccination requirement covers 3 categories: indoor dining, including bars and restaurants, indoor fitness venues like gyms, indoor entertainment, recreational and event venues, including theater shows or sports games. Acceptable forms of proof of vaccination include CDC cards, a photo of the card, or any official immunization record or digital image from a pharmacy or healthcare provider, or on any COVID-19 vaccine verification app. Boston officials say the city plans to create its own proof of vaccination app modeled after the Key to New York City app in New York City. Wu said she's been in touch with New York officials where a similar vaccine requirement has been in place for months. And, well, I'm sure that at some point here in the next few weeks we're going to start hearing about speakeasies in Boston. From the Boston Globe, will Boston's proof of vaccination order work without a verification system? from Anissa Gardazi. All right, before I get into this, I want to remind you that it is illegal to take this picture here, crop everything back out of here, blow it up to standard card size, and print it out. It is illegal to do that, and nobody should ever do anything like that. And the other thing that nobody should ever do is change the logo up here just ever so slightly, because that makes it not illegal. But nobody should ever do that. You should live with the rules of your government and do whatever it is the government tells you to. You should never alter the CDC logo, because using a government logo is illegal. You should never ever do that, and you should never crop an image like that and just alter that logo just ever so slightly so it's not a copyright infringement, and use these cards unauthorizedly. You should never do something like that. That is wrong. You should never just alter that logo, put an extra line in the wing or anything like that, to make sure that it is legally distinct. You should never ever do something like that, ever. In Mayor Michelle Wu's next move to get more Bostonians vaccinated, she's calling on local servers, bartenders, gym owners, and concert venue staff to prohibit the unvaccinated from entering their establishments. People who want to partake in indoor dining, fitness activities, and entertainment events will need to show that they've been inoculated as part of the city's new proof of vaccination policy called Be Together that goes into effect on January 15th. Some business owners see the policy as a much-needed step, especially if it encourages more people to get vaccinated. But others have already identified holes. For example, while Brad Fredericks, owner of the downtown restaurant Fajitas and Ritas, Back Deck and French Quarter, I've been to one of those restaurants, by the way. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I've been to one of them. Hopes the Boston mandate works, he said, that without a verification process, the new policy is basically the honor system. My own vaccine card was issued to me without my name on it. I had to write it in, he said. I would be supportive of a more verifiable system, such as an app with links to vaccine history. Well, that's not dystopian or anything. Hey, let's have an app with your entire medical history on it. Hey, and let's put it in a microchip and put it in your hand, says the Swedes. Wu said the paper COVID vaccine card or a photo of it would count as acceptable forms of proof without any digital verification certificate that may be available. Individuals who got vaccinated at CVS, Walgreens, or Walmart, for example, can obtain digital apps from those retailers. The city is not requiring that people present other forms of identification. About 10 states, including New York and California, are providing immunization records for the Smart Health Card system, which allows residents to get a copy of their vaccination status in the form of a verifiable QR code. The system was developed about a year ago and is based on technology from Boston Children's Hospital. Cities, including San Francisco and New York City, offer verifiable digital certificates and accept other forms of proof too. The Smart Health Card is not yet available in Massachusetts, but Charlie Baker said in late November that a QR code-based COVID-19 vaccine certificate is coming. He also said he has no plans to implement a statewide vaccine passport that would be required to gain admission to venues. So even Baker is pushing back a little bit, but he's the show Republican, so he's not actually a Republican. He just runs with that letter behind his name, kind of like Mitt Romney, actually. But that's what we see off of that. And closer to home here, in Chicago. Chicago to require vaccine proof for indoor spaces like restaurants, bars, and gyms. This is no author given, published December 21st, 2021. Chicago will soon require proof of vaccination for indoor public spaces like restaurants, bars, and gyms in the new year, the city's mayor announced on Tuesday, joining other big cities like New York and Los Angeles in adding requirements as COVID cases surge. Okay. Now, in the nice little quarter of Chicago on Lakeshore Drive, This might work. And the nice little place where the Stevenson comes into the city that connects with 45 LSD, this might work. Where the Shed Aquarium is, this might work. This might work on the Navy Pier. If you think that this is going to work in the middle of the hood, where vaccination rates are already extremely low because of things like the Tuskegee experiments, you are out of your mind, Mayor Lightfoot. You are out of your mind if you think that this is going to work in neighborhoods that I won't go into even during the day. Which actually, that does include the nice parts like Navy Pier and the Shed Aquarium that I mentioned earlier, but that's just me. Beginning January 3rd, anyone ages 5 and older will be required to show proof of full vaccination to dine inside or visit gyms or entertainment venues where food and drinks are being served. The city's said policy is in response to an alarming rise in COVID-19 cases, both locally and nationally, driven in part by the Omicron variant. Despite our diligent and equitable vaccine distribution efforts throughout the year, unfortunately our city continues to see a surge of COVID-19 Delta and now Omicron cases. Mayor Lightfoot said in a statement, "New steps must be taken to protect the health and well-being of our residents. This public health order requiring proof of vaccination to visit certain indoor public places is necessary to measure to ensure we can continue to enjoy our city's many amenities as we enter the new year." Well, I'm actually a little bit short on cash right now because I just had to do laundry and it's coin-op laundry. Does anybody have a quarter I can borrow that I can toss in the Alex Jones was right jar? Actually, I need 2 at this point. One for Boston and one for Chicago. WGN provides the counter for this. Chicago restaurant industry responds to new vaccine mandate. From Mike Lowe. How will the new vaccine requirements impact restaurants in Chicago? It's both a burden and a relief. Some say restaurants will now have staff members check vaccination cards and IDs, but now it won't be different rules at different places. Lightfoot's announcement means there's now a consistent rule for every restaurant and bar in the city. Just like the mask mandate. Just like I told you last year. You know why? A lot of the places, like some of these, are coming out here and saying, oh, well, thank God that we have Mayor Lightfoot's mandate here because it makes the rules the same across everybody else. It's because when you have a vaccine requirement in your posh, high-end restaurant or your chain restaurant that has enough corporate resources to make it still work, when you have all of these things already in place and have this money in place, people don't go to your business. They go to the little slop shop down the fucking road that says, "Hey, you want some slop on a bun?" And you say, "Sure." "Cool. Are you going to check my vaccine card?" "I don't care about your vaccine card. You want some slop on a bun? If you don't, get the fuck out of here." They're going to go to that place. And not go to your high-end restaurant that has the vaccine requirements or your corporate restaurant that has the vaccine requirements. In fact, the people pick winners and losers at that point. And then the government looks at this and says, the people are picking winners and losers. Fuck you, that's our job! Let's keep reading off of this. Mark Lieberson is the owner of Replay Restaurant and Bar in Andersonville and a number of other Northside venues. He's been requiring proof of vaccination at his restaurants and bars since August. And I'm sure that a lot of people are telling him to go and get fucked. Personally, it's not going to make a big difference, us being required to ask for vaccines, because we've been doing it for a long time, he said. Lieberson said the city's new health order brings consistency and clarity to all of Chicago. It also keeps the Southsiders out of your restaurant. Ironically enough. Or at least a grand majority of them. didn't think anybody would notice that, did you? Lieberson said the city's new health order brings consistency and clarity to all of Chicago. I think consistency is a requirement, and it really does make things a lot easier, he said. The order required anyone ages 5 and older to show proof that they're fully vaccinated for indoor dining, indoor fitness, and indoor entertainment, and recreation venues where food or beverages are being served starting on January 3rd. The president of the Illinois Restaurant Association issued a written statement on the new requirements. Chicago's hospitality community is in a very fragile stage of recovery. Throughout the pandemic, the industry prioritized customer and team member safety above all else, and the IRA strongly supports vaccinations. Wait, the Irish dudes? The Irish Republican Army? The IRA? It's just a long black coat with a buckle bright in bronze, with the holster that's been empty for many a day, but not for long. That IRA? Supports vaccinations for everyone to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. We encourage all diners to please lend their cooperation, respect, and kindness to the employees working to comply with the new mandate during these challenging times. Restaurant workers are not required to be vaccinated, but must provide weekly negative tests and wear masks when dealing with customers. Alright, what else do we have here? This story. This story of one establishment protecting the other. From Huffington Post, their official Twitter account. The 20-year-old police veteran who was electroshocked and badly beaten by Trump supporters will join CNN as an on-air contributor.
You would be wise to surrender.
Who didn't see this coming? I want to go back to CNN and start reminding them and start pulling video clips of them telling us how bad all cops were as they sit here and interview and bring this cop in as a contributor. Maybe he'll be a host at one point. Maybe he'll take Cuomo's spot. He says the right things about the Orange Man, so that's important to them. What a fucking joke. And of course, I'm not going to click on the HuffPo one because I'm not going to give them the click unless they have something important to say that I can't get somewhere else. Like Insider. Archived, of course. Michael Fanone, the DC police officer, beaten by Capitol rioters, resigned and is joining CNN as a commentator. From Bill Bostock. The DC Metro Police officer beaten by Capitol rioters resigned on Monday, the Washington Post reported. He is due to take up a new job at CNN as an on-air contributor. Michael Fanone was knocked down and pretended to be unconscious and badly injured in the attack on the Capitol, and later appeared on cable news shows to warn about what he called the threat to democracy posed to people like the rioters. What about the people like the Kenosha rioters, Michael Fanone? Fanone, who said he now suffers with PTSD, recounted the attack in detail. Well, then he doesn't suffer from that bad of PTSD. During his testimony in July before Congress's January 6th Witch Hunt Committee. It is ironic that the Imperial March starts up as we're talking about this asshole. He said he was grabbed, beaten, and tased, all while being called a traitor to my country. He said his badge and equipment were stolen, and he heard his attacker say, "Kill him with his own gun." A still from Fanone's body cam, included by the Justice Department and court filings, showed Fanone being mobbed by men. The Circle Man, Thomas Civic, is accused of attacking Fanone and stealing his badge. In one memorable appearance, not long after January 6th, Fanone discussed the rioters who helped to protect him when others wanted to harm him, giving the message, "Thank you, but fuck you for being there." On Monday, Pannone told the Post that he resigned and would become a contributor for CNN on law enforcement issues in the new year. Would that include all cops being bastards? Michael Pannone? Here's the big question. Here's the deep question. Michael Pannone, if you are going to be joining CNN, do they provide you with a 12-year-old prostitute, or do you have to bring your own? Brian Stelter, CNN's chief media correspondent, tweeted Monday that the network had confirmed the appointment. Pannone's appearances in Congress and on cable news drew scorn from his colleagues, he told the Post. Clearly, there are some members of our department who feel their oath is to Donald Trump and not the Constitution. Oh my God, there is not a single officer on the DC police force that feels that they have an oath to Donald Trump. You lying cocksucker. And when I say lying cocksucker, I mean 12-year-old cocksucker too, because you're going to CNN with a pedo problem. I no longer felt like I could trust my fellow officers and decided it was time to make a change. Jesus, what a fucking virtue signal. Dear God. This is gross. Alright, tale of two stories. And for once in the history of this program, I'm going to say that the CNN article is probably the more trustworthy article in this. I can't believe I just said those words, but when you're given the choice between that and the New York Times, a former newspaper, CNN is probably going to win out on this one. January 6th committee said it would make criminal referrals if appropriate, but that could be a long way off. From Zachary Cohen and Annie Grayer. Members of the House Select Committee investigating the Selfie Fest are increasingly pushing the idea they could produce evidence related to criminal activity by former President Trump. But sources tell CNN the panel is still in the fact-finding stage, and any potential referrals to the Justice Department would be a long way off. Would those come probably in October of next year, by any chance? Or maybe if they're a long way off, would we might maybe see them in October of 2024? Are they that far off? The prospect of criminal referrals, as floated by members of the committee, can therefore be seen more as a political message aimed at Trump and Garland, rather than suggesting the investigation will ultimately lead to criminal charges, sources said. It would be such... Guys, it would be such a breach of decorum if Donald Trump went after Hillary Clinton, used the office of the government to go after political enemies. It would be such a breach if he used any arrest that he would do to her would be just going after a political enemy. Don't you know how wrong that would be? How much of a breach of decorum that would be? Oh shit, no, we're going to throw President Trump in prison. The Select Committee is gathering facts and asking questions about the violence of the Selfie Fest and its causes so we can make legislative recommendations and help ensure nothing like that day happens again. A committee aide told CNN the Select Committee is not conducting a law enforcement investigation. So if we uncover information we believe could be related to criminal conduct, we will make whatever referrals are appropriate. You know, after the DOJ and the FBI already investigated this to death. But any referrals made by the committee may serve as more of a political statement than anything else. Yeah, the entire committee is a political statement. DOJ knows exactly what happened on January 6th. There's no indication they're unaware or need a referral from Congress to make them aware of these issues, said Randall Eliason, a George Washington University law professor and former public corruption prosecutor. The special committee, attempting to pressure Garland's Justice Department to persecute, also could backfire, Eliason said, by playing into the criticism that Democrats are trying to persecute Trump. That could make bringing a case, even if enough evidence was found, thornier for the Biden admin politically as Garland strives to restore the Justice Department's reputation, working separate from politics. At what point in the last 11 months has anyone believed that Garland's justice... Well, let me rephrase that, because he didn't come in until February. At what point in the last 10 months? When did he come in? I actually want to be accurate about that. March. He didn't come until March. So at what point in the last 9 months, in the previous 9 months, does anybody believe that the person who got glossed over by Mitch McConnell for a Supreme Court seat in the wake of Antonin Scalia dying, and then appointed by Biden to be the head of the DOJ, the Attorney General, at what point has anybody believed that anything that Merrick Garland has done has not been political? In the last 9 months. But on the other side of it, the New York Times, going out and masturbating their own audience at this point, January 6th committee weighs the possibility of criminal referrals. We got him this time. He's going to prison, you guys. We got him. And in tinier little text down here, the House panel is examining whether there's enough evidence to recommend that the Justice Department pursue cases against Donald J. Trump and others. And an even smaller text, The Actual Truth, from Michael S. Schmidt and Luke Broadwater, and not even The Actual Truth, because it's the New York Times. The House formed a special committee this summer to investigate and witch hunt the January 6th Capitol Selfie Fest. Its stated goal was to compile all of the data from President Trump so we can use this to make campaign ads in 2024. But as investigators sifted through troves of documents, metadata, and interview transcripts, they started considering whether the inquiry could yield something potentially more consequential, evidence of criminal conduct by President Trump or others that they could send to the Justice Department urging an investigation. That move, known as sending a criminal referral, has no legal weight, as Congress has the ability to tell the Justice Department what investigation it should undertake, but it could have a substantial political impact by increasing public pressure on Attorney General Merrick B. Garland, who in his first year in office has largely sidestepped questions about what persecutors are doing to examine the conduct of Mr. Trump and his aides as they promoted baseless allegations of voter fraud. So, headline: they're weighing the possibility of criminal referrals. Subheadline: they're deciding whether there's enough evidence to recommend the Justice Department pursue cases against Trump. Third paragraph down. This might actually be political, and this might be a witch hunt. Alright, it is 9, so we gotta start wrapping it up. Greg Smith comes out here. I was close to guys like Trump, Lynn, and Bannon for 30 years, so let me be clear that I think that are up to, if they regain control of the federal government, there will be another federal election, full stop. Liz Cheney knows we're fighting for survival. No, Liz Cheney knows that she's fighting for the chance to go out and launch another war where they bomb a bunch of fucking brown kids and try to spread Christianity in Islamic Middle East. That's what Liz Cheney is fighting for. No more Cheneys, no more Bushes, no more Romneys. Let's do a few more of these here. I don't think we're going to get to all of them. Here's one from Fox News. Kim Foxx lied about contacts with Jussie Smollett's sister. Violated legal ethics investigation finds. From Cameron Cawthorn. Cook County State's attorney, Kim Foxx, repeatedly told the public that she cut off communications with Smollett's sister when she was told that the actor became a suspect. But she continued communicating with her several days after, according to the Special Prosecutor's report. The report, released Monday by the Special Prosecutor Daniel Webb, cites multiple examples from March of 2019 at the end of May of 2019 in which Fox told the media that she stopped communicating with Smollett's sister. However, the report says she sent 5 text messages to her and talked with her on the phone another 3 times through February 13th of 2019, 5 days after she claimed she cut off communication. During a phone call on February 13th, Fox and Smollett discussed the skin color of the alleged attackers, with Smollett's sister asking, "They're white, right?" Fox informed her that they're not white. During the late evening of February 13th, Smollett said her conversation with Fox was quite different, and that Fox said that she couldn't communicate with her anymore, and that she was recusing herself from the case. Yeah, pretty much, Katie said. Somebody in Chicago, in government, was unethical. Yeah, that's about all that I have for that. From my neck of the woods, Governor Evers receives filed complaint to remove Milwaukee County DA John Chisholm. From Madison Goldbeck of the Associated Press. A formal complaint has been filed asking Governor Evers to remove Milwaukee County DA John Chisholm from office. The petition follows criticism after Chisholm's office recommended $1,000 bail for the man before he allegedly drove his vehicle through a Christmas parade, killing 6 people. Now, I know that we didn't get a lot of Waukesha news after, the 3rd week in November. I understand that because it wasn't politically convenient. We all know that it wasn't politically convenient. But it's good to come back and see it. It is time to start looking at some of these people who grossly abuse the concept of bail reform for political statements to get more voters back out on the street. So they could go out and vote harder. Vote harder, I'm gonna vote so hard. He says he made a mistake when he offered $1,000 bail for Brooks. I don't think that he did. It was political. You can't be elected as DA or appointed in DA in Milwaukee as tough on crime. If you're tough on crime. You can't do it there. And now he's coming back and reaping the rewards. He's the sacrificial lamb to a broader system that I do think needs to be reformed. I mean, if you get picked up smoking a joint, there's no reason you need to sit in prison overnight to try to post up $1,000 worth of bond or $10,000 worth of bond or anything else like that. If you get picked up for smoking a joint or possession or basic possession, you should be out on a signature. But if you ran the mother of one of your children over with a car, there should probably be at least a little bit of effort to bring up your bail.
Do or do not. There is no try.
So that's what they see off of that. Elizabeth Warren is out here to tell us that it wasn't the government problem that we're seeing rising inflation and grocery prices. From The Hill, Warren targets supermarket chains over high food prices. From Monique Beals, Senator Elizabeth Warren said in a letter to leadership at Kroger, Albertsons, and Publix that the grocery store chains are profiting off struggling American families during the pandemic. While many Americans face the loss of jobs, this is Warren. While many Americans face the loss of jobs, homes, and loved ones during the COVID-19 pandemic, grocery companies like yours saw immense gains through record sales and profits, Warren wrote. Your company, on the other major grocers who reap the benefits of a turbulent 2020, appear to be passing costs on to consumers to preserve your pandemic gains, and even taking advantage of inflation to add greater burdens. The senator added that the stores continue to earn massive profits while pushing grocery cost increases on customers in 2021. Your companies had a choice. They could have retained lower prices for consumers and properly protected and compensated their workers, or granted massive payouts to top executives and investors, Warren said. It is disappointing that you chose not to put your customers and workers first. The Hill has reached out to Kroger, Albertsons, and Publix for comment. Warren's letter comes after inflation in the U.S. hit the highest rate seen in decades. Consumer prices in November surged 6.8%, marking the highest annual inflation rate seen since 1982, as supply chains have struggled during the pandemic. Prices for food were notably up 6.1% for the year, including 6.4% for food from grocery stores and 5.8% at restaurants. Anything they can do other than looking internally at their own policies and say, hey, you know what? We've got a problem here, and we've got to find a way to fix it. Anything to prevent them from saying, shit, all this inflation happened while we had control of all three branches of Congress. What do we do? And we kept promoting spending more and more cash, more and more, over and over again. Shit, what do we do? Yeah, let's not talk about the profits of Pfizer. This one. We've got one here from our friends over at NPR. The EPA is in the news this week because it's announced tighter fuel economy standards for cars and trucks. This is from Alana Wise, and you have to get better fuel economy in your car and your truck because you need to save that money so you can donate to NPR. They need your money, comrade, so they can continue to spread their communist ideals all around the country. Make sure you hit that big donate button because the government subsidies are not enough. They don't get enough of your taxpayer dollars, so you need to donate privately to get them more. So hit the donate button for NPR, Never Printing Reality, National Progressive Radio. Let's see what they had to say. This is from Alana Wise. The Environmental Protection Agency on Monday announced new fuel economy standards to promote President Biden's goal of reducing the nation's greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, I want to stop here. Now, I've got a dirty air filter at this point, and I probably should change that before I take the long road trip that I'm planning on. Fingers crossed. But I have a truck, a full-size pickup truck, with a 302, geared 355, so just a step below 3/4 ton rear, that gets 20 plus miles to the gallon on long trips. I got 21 mpg going down 95 from DC to Florida last year with a V8 in a 4,200 pound vehicle. The transportation sector is the biggest emitter in the country of heat-trapping pollution, which stokes climate change. The EPA's new rules reverse a much weaker Trump-era regulation for automakers to improve their cars and light-duty trucks' fuel economy. The finalized rule calls for vehicles in the model years 2023 to 2026 to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions between 5 and 10% each year. That means by 2026, the cars will be required to achieve 40 miles per gallon. The plan will improve air quality as it cuts the amount of pollution cars pump into the atmosphere, reduce climate pollution, and save Americans money at the pump as cars' fuel efficiency improves, the EPA and environmentalists said. The final rule for light-duty vehicles reflect core principles of this admin. We follow the science, we listen to the stakeholders, and we are setting robust and rigorous standards that will aggressively reduce the pollution that is harming people and our planet and save families money at the same time, EPA admin Michael Regan said in a statement. Former President Trump had previously required car manufacturers to raise their fuel economy by only 1.5% through 2026. The EPA estimates that the finalized rule would reduce carbon dioxide pollution from cars from 166 grams per mile in 2023 to 132 grams per mile in 2026. The agency says the mandate will unlock $190 billion in net benefits to Americans through the year 2050, including reduced impacts of climate change, improved public health from lower pollution, and cost savings for vehicle owners through improved fuel efficiency. Donate! Donate now! At EPA, our priority is to protect public health, especially In overburdened communities while responding to the president's ambitious climate agenda, Reagan said, "Today we take a giant step forward in delivering on those goals while paving the way toward an all-electric zero-emissions transportation future." Well, all-electric, you would first have to make all-electric be zero emissions before you could call it an all-electric zero-emissions transportation future. Because you're putting out an awful lot of emissions. In order to make those all-electric vehicles. The EPA's new guidance comes alongside a Biden effort to promote electric vehicles and recommit the U.S. to the global goal of limiting climate change. The White House has set a target to make half of all new cars sold in 2030 zero-emissions vehicles. Well, you would first have to make a zero-emissions vehicle. And there is no such thing as a zero-emissions vehicle. I'm sorry. There's no such thing. The coal plant, close to where I grew up, which, yes, they have taken some hydroelect off of there, but there's still the coal plant. The coal plant down over by Kenosha that I used to drive by all the time. The nuclear plants, that's not even zero emissions. The mining equipment, to mine the coal, to mine the rare earth minerals, to mine the uranium for the nuclear plant. To mine the coal that makes the steel for the hydroelectric, for the wind. You don't have a zero-emission vehicle right now. I know it's cute that you think Tesla actually makes a zero-emission vehicle. They don't. They never have. Speaking of vehicles, we want to talk about inflation and everything else that's going there. And I think I'm going to do this one after this, and then we'll do something I'm thankful for and head out of here for the day because it's 9:15. But Double Wide Capital LLC put out this window sticker. Now, keep in mind, this is in Van Nuys. So you're in Los Angeles, so you've already got the upcharge for that. But here's your stock number, RM214107 from Russell Westbrook, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Year 2022, make Ram, model 1500. Trim TRX, which is, well, it's still ridiculous that you're paying that much for a pickup truck on space trim model, but I mean the TRX is the cat's ass, the top of the line. Off-road, never gonna hold its value. Gonna get beaten to shit every moment that you're driving the thing. Top of the line off-road Ram. Manufacturer retail price, $94,370 US. As if that's not bad enough by itself. Dealer installed options. Theft Patrol, $14.95, a state-of-the-art vehicle tracking and recovery system that utilizes an embedded device within the vehicle. Theft Patrol offers the most accurate vehicle tracking and recovery system on the market. Price includes 3 years of service. LoJack is free, dude. LoJack doesn't give you a service. There's LoJack on all kinds of stuff. My truck's got LoJack on it. I hate it, but it does. Xzillion paint and fabric protection. You know, dealer installed add-on to make sure your paint looks good while you're going and beating the shit out of this thing off-road. $14.95. JM&A Etch, $995. I don't know what that is. Nitrogen tire fill, $4.95. I have a story about that, but we're running up on the clock and I probably can't tell it here. Plus, on top of it, the one I skipped over the first time, market adjustment. $50,000 on market adjustment. 50 grand extra because you're buying this vehicle in the market that's rising this vehicle up. Coming out to a total price with the package price plus the MSRP of $148,850 for a half-ton Dodge Ram. $148,850 US to go buy. Actually, I looked this up yesterday too. Ram TRX. That's what you get for $150,000 right there. You get the nice hood scoop hood. You get the scratch-proof carbon fiber grill or whatever the fuck it is. Your wheel whips. You get the factory roll bar. You get that big TRX sticker on the back. That is not $150,000 on a truck, even with a factory lift kit. And factory 36s. That is not $150,000 worth of truck. And this is once again coming from somebody who, of course, understands where in most cases your pickup truck is going to retain its value because it's full framed. But there's no way that this is going to hold once the market's balanced back out. $150,000 worth of value. There's no way. But there, yeah, $150,000 for a brand new top of the line off-road truck with factory installed lift kit and 36-inch tires. Yeah, no. Nah. I'll stick with my XLT. I'm curious, because I know that the original sticker is in the truck somewhere, the original window sticker. 14 F-150 Super Cab. New MSRP. Give me my trim package. I want to see if it's got the XTR trim on it too, because I know that was like an extra $1,500. Nope. XLT Super Cab, 33,035 was approximately what the MSRP was. Probably about 35 grand was the approximate MSRP for my truck, brand new. Super Cab 4-wheel drive. Let's run back that up. 36. So probably about 38. Because I have 4-wheel drive. That was the first one I said was for a 2-wheel drive. So with the XTR package on it was probably just a little bit under $40,000 new, brand new. And now I'm looking at an invoice total for $148,850. That's ridiculous. That is beyond ridiculous. Holy shit. All right. And that's what we have for this. With that, we're going to head out of here for the day. So let's finish up. Let's talk about something that I am thankful for and finish off for the day. So looking into this, coming into the end of the Christmas season here, well, you all know, I live alone, and I had a little bit of a hard time last week dealing with the fact that I was going into the holiday season a year later after my fiance decided that she didn't want to be engaged to me anymore, or her parents decided for her. That was usually a common theme in that household. But now I'm looking back and I'm looking at some things that go with this, and I'm sitting here. I probably would have, at this point, come here, gone probably to my mom and dad's for Christmas, and then come home and work throughout the rest of the week and blah this, blah that. Everything would have been fine, done and everything. Continue to do the show, which I'm thankful for the fact that I get to do the show. But it is, the world is opening up at this point. More people are knowing who I am. More people are coming off onto my side. I told you guys about the girl who decided that she needed to listen and hear me out the other night while I was struggling a little bit with the realization that it's been a year, and it has been a year as of last week. She's cute too, by the way. Another story for another time. But I mean, just thankful for the fact that there's so much opening up right now. And, I was told no plans in the chat, but it looks like I've looked over the finances and looks like this little road trip that I've been planning is feasible. Everything is available. The funds are there. So just going to make sure that a couple of the bills are paid to make sure before I'm all set and before everything is back out. But yeah, with that, especially with that fifth Friday in December, that was off the chain too. So it does look like, a lot of things are turning around here. And I've kind of condition myself once again to really, really scrimp and save and only buy what I really need right now. It is time to pull everything back out and get that money back in. Get these 2 little black marks that are sitting over the top of my head paid out and get myself into some property. And I think I'm in the feasible means to be able to do so too. So I'm going to be changing a few things as soon as I get back from New Year's. And I'm probably actually going to finish that real estate license. But yeah, just everything from the first time it was suggested that I make this road trip on to now has kind of prepared me to change my life, change my spending, and get everything done and ready to go. So yeah, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the way that all worked out, the way that all shook out. And yeah, that's going to be a cool thing. I think this is all going to turn out really well for me. Barring something really big coming up last minute, I think everything is going to be awesome. Everything's going to be great. So with that, we're going to head out of here for the day. Let's change up the track. I'm still looking at this $150,000 price tag. And for $150,000, you still have a Chrysler product. That's going to be boat anchor in a few years. I bet you in like 7 years, you're barely going to be able to get 10 grand out of that truck. But hey, if you got $150,000 and you live in Van Nuys to go spend on that truck, Merry Christmas to you, I guess. Let's change up the track and let's head out of here. Should I show you guys my truck? I've been looking over the picture, by the way, before we head out of here, before I do the peddling of the wares on out of here. I have a picture of my truck. I don't think it shows any revealing information about where I work. I've looked it over. I'm actually probably I'll send it to Katie Zed to see if she can identify anything where she would be able to identify where I work out of it there. But I'll show you guys my truck. I like my truck, and I edited it so you can't see the license plate on it too. So I've got a picture of it saved up in a couple places here, so we can look at that. We're not going to do it now. We'll do some of this off camera. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow, but otherwise, yeah, we're going to head out of here for the day. Thanks everybody who came by and chatted in the live chat. We'll be back here tomorrow for Thing I Like and Thing That I Hate, plus the news headlines and these last few articles here that we couldn't get to. So definitely come back here, hang out with us tomorrow, talk about more headlines. I will read your chat after work here tonight, but I'm going to head off, go to work for the last working week of the year, because no matter if I take the trip or not, I am not going to work next week. And they know that too. So we will see you guys, and we've got dueling music over here too. We'll see you guys here tomorrow for more Contemporary, 7:15 a.m. Central Time. And until then, I am Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Stick around if you're on Twitch, by the way. I'm going to go raid somebody. I don't know who yet, because I don't know who's streaming right now. We'll go raid somebody. Take care, you guys.